as I said at the start, the world's changed. Our clients are changing, our clients are evolving. What do we need to do as an event industry to keep pace with that? Evolving events for evolving clients. I'm going to start with you, Josef, because you've got the microphone, and I'll work out how to turn this one on. How do we as an industry keep pace with modern client expectations?
Well, I think for me, one of the important things is that you need to keep up with technology and with trends and innovation. And I think looking at it from a client's perspective is, I would expect the agency that I work with, to know about the latest trends and technology, and also be able to exceed my expectations on that.
Okay. Livia.
I agree with everything Josef just said, but from a venue point of view, so I work for a venue, it's very similar, but it's the other side of the spectrum. So we are very much, our team is very much expected to know the answers to many questions that perhaps weren't quite in our job description. So to know a lot about the latest technology, to know about the latest trends, and to be able to advise on what might work with an audience, what might bring your clients into the venue. So we're much more of an agency rather than, a space sales team nowadays.
Good. I'm going to come back to you on that because that's a good point. Roopi, just tell us who you are and...
What's your name? Where'd you come from?
Yeah. Name, rank, serial number.
Hi, I'm Roopi. I'm marketing manager over at the QEII Centre. And just to be nicey nice, I agree with both of you.
They're talking rubbish. Don't agree with them.
Oh, no, but they're not. I do agree with you, yes. Certainly from a venue point of view, we are finding that clients are very much expecting us to advise on everything. So yes, as a venue, we're not just there to sell empty boxes anymore. We do have to be ahead of the trends. We have to know, not even just tech. I mean, even things like food or different ways of networking or entertainment or how to spice up a conference, because even conference organisers don't just want a bog standard conference anymore. Yep. For example, we've got a huge international developers conference that comes and takes over once a year. They don't want biscuits. Well, biscuits give you a sugar high, but then they give you a crash. They want energy breaks. So we have to have a fruit bar, we have to have juices, we have to advise on things, combinations that we'd rather have biscuits, but we have to advise on things that may work better, and we've got to be open to that. So people look to us for advice now.
Good. Claire.
Oh, you have your own mic?
I do have my own mic.
She's got her own. I'm going to give it.
So I'm Claire Stokes. I'm the founder and managing director of Circle Agency, and I have a little bit of a different perspective to the rest of the panel because we are an experiential agency. So most of the work we do is running events for consumers. Our clients definitely have very high expectations these days of what we're going to deliver for them. I think probably consumers have an even greater and higher expectation of what we deliver and are always expecting us to do bigger and better and more. Technology definitely comes into that, and a lot of our clients are tech-based clients. We work for brands like PlayStation and O2 and others, so we're always having to look for that. I think we're also expected to just do more with less, or is it do more with less, or is it just be able to justify that return on investment constantly and be able to absolutely pinpoint what every pound spent is delivering in terms of return. And I'm going to talk a bit about that later on today, so I don't need to go into it too much here. But certainly it is a real push for us. I've been in this business 20 years now, and every year it gets a little harder.
Or easier.
Maybe.
Charlotte, as the only client on the panel.
Yeah, Charlotte Sanctuary, having done 20 years at KPMG, I'm now a consultant. And I'm delighted to hear that you all want to do more in technology, more innovation, because that's what we're looking for all the time. So thank you very much indeed. What we're in the financial services with all the regulation, the Bribery Act, things have to be less is more.
Yeah.
We can't spend the money, we're not allowed to spend the money. So differentiating any events that we might do for clients through any of these agencies or you out there has to be different, stand on alone, and really, really good ROI and value for money, and transparent. We have to tell everybody how much we're spending on every single event.
We do. Thank you. So if you guys want to ask some questions, it's in the app, Glisser. Yeah, you can ask questions. You don't need to put your hand up. I'm not going to embarrass you. Do it through the app. The man from Glitter's there. There he is, look, smiling. He's one of us. So I'm going to come back to Livia and Roopi. Talk to me about the relationship between you as a venue and the production company and the client, and how you become involved in more when the lines are blurred, perhaps. How do you find that happy balance between doing everything and supporting?
As a venue, we've always had very good relationships with production companies and with our clients. Our clients expect us to run it seamlessly for them, so without any of that level of competition. So whilst we do have our own AV department, they can integrate really neatly with the client and with any external production companies. It's all first name basis as far as we're concerned. You have to work closely like that. You just haven't got a choice. Yeah. At the end of the day, the client's event is what comes first. So you just get on with it.
Yeah. Livia, have you got?
Yes, I agree. Going back to the point I was making about venue sales team being essentially an agency these days. Yeah. We work in partnership with our suppliers, and we work with the sort of same group of suppliers most of the time. And that the reason for that is really because we need to know each other very well. There are so many restrictions and unique venues that need to be adhered to, and we on the phone need to be able to say confidently what you can and can't do, what might work, what the price of this might be, before the client even goes out and speaks to the suppliers. So it's definitely a very close partnership that we find we have with our production companies, the caterers, entertainment companies, etc. Yeah. And it's been like this for years, I think, but more so now that the turnaround of inquiries is so quick. There's an expectation that when you send an inquiry, you get a response very quickly and you get all your information then and there. Yeah.
I suppose there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. I suppose it takes a whole ecosystem to run an event, and it's important that we collaborate in a diverse collaboration. Claire, let me ask you, how do you keep ahead of those trends? As an agency, experiential agency, how do you understand where clients are going, where technology is going? Do you have a team that does that?
Yes. Well, there's a number of ways we do that. Obviously, being very aware of what's going on around us, both here in the UK and globally. Obviously, I don't herald from here originally, so no. I'm from Canada and do spend quite a bit of time with our sister agency in North America, making sure that we're sharing our trends with them and they're sharing trends with us. And that does spark little seeds of inspiration backwards and forwards, which is great. As an agency, we hold bi-weekly what we call walks, because our agency's on King Street, so Word on King Street. Young ones name that, not me. But everybody comes and brings a little seed of inspiration, and they share it amongst each other, and we sort of bounce ideas around as to how they might be relevant for our clients. We do a bi-monthly newsletter to clients, showing them various different seeds of inspiration that feed into our blog as well, to make sure that we're seeding those ideas throughout the agency all the time, so that when a brief does come in, we're already thinking about it. And that often does happen. As you're sitting in a brief, one of my guys will say, "Oh, well, what about that piece of technology or something we've seen or heard?" We have suppliers come in and present to us at those Word on King Streets as well. So it's really just it's something that you have to really proactively seek out and make sure that it's very easy to get very in a bubble and doing what you do well for your clients, and not necessarily seeking out the new trends that are out there. But I think very much more so it's our job to bring ideas to the table. Yeah. So we have to do it.
And do you think it's important that everyone in the company is involved in that?
Absolutely.
Looking process?
Absolutely. Yeah. I absolutely kid you not, when we did a late brainstorm one day, and our cleaning lady joined in the conversation. I'm absolutely happened. We do very.
Is she still the cleaning lady?
Yep.
Head of ideas and innovation.
But yeah, absolutely. But we really do kind of see it that way as an agency. Where we're pretty small in the bigger scheme of things. There's only 20 of us in the agency, so we do all have to muck in, and I prefer it that way. All my guys are trained from production to staffing to actual all of the strategy and planning side of things. So actually, all of us being around the table as one family, as it were, means that we get a production perspective, staffing perspective, creative perspective all at one go, and I think that's where we get our best ideas for sure.
Diversity the key. Charlotte, let me ask you a question on the point you made. Do you expect your agency to understand all those regulations, or do you expect them just to know the thing that they're supposed to know?
No, we have a very good, experienced event team who are absolutely
inside KPMG.
Inside
yeah.
KPMG. So don't use agencies very often,
okay.
but do use a lot of venues all of the time.
No pitching here.
Sorry, but we do for very big events, but not for the generally small ones. Now, I wouldn't expect them to know the regulation, but they will have to work. They will be told the regulatory budget, so we'll have to work towards that. But building on your 2 points there, the real key is you working with us on the suppliers, because it's much easier to work with a venue where the suppliers are known, they know the building, they know what they can do, they can't do. Although we have a few in-house suppliers for AV and things for our own branding, otherwise I would normally use all of yours. All of yours, much easier, much easier.
And Josef, thank you, Charlotte. Josef, in terms of in your previous life,
yes,
head of everything at the Fashion Council, did you put a premium on innovation when you're selecting your agency? You know, for them to understand where the world is going.
Absolutely, yeah. I that was really important for us. You know, putting on really big events is to work with work with partners and agencies. You know, who really understand. You know, what's the what the latest trends are in how we can translate that into the fashion industry and the events that we're doing, as well as having being really clued up on the dreaded B word, which is budget. Being able to deliver those things on an ever decreasing budget. So that's one of the big challenges that I saw over my time there is expectations remain or get even higher. And actually, budgets are, being reduced year on year.
Yeah. Why is that?
I don't know.
Everyone has said that, and I
think there's no.
People don't want to be. A lot of places don't want to be seen to be doing flash, blingy, champagne-filled big parties and events. I think that sort of less is more.
Yeah,
I think there was. As you were saying, it's social media. And
I think there certainly was a time when it was sort of seen as we can't be spending this sort of money, and I think that's one thing. But I also think it's the Fashion Council relies a lot on partnerships and sponsorships, and I think there is the brands just weren't really spending the big bucks and weren't really spending the money. So we had to look at new ways of finding partners and kind of sharing the love really.
Yeah. Go on, speak.
I don't think it's necessary that all budgets have been slashed. I mean, some of it is with our clients is redistribution of budget.
Yeah.
So redistribution of budget on areas they think they will get more actual value from.
But Roopi, don't you think it's a question of trying to find places to add value rather than take things out of budgets?
No, I'm saying that things are being moved around.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's being redistributed. So it might just be house red and house white at the reception, but more money will be spent on technology or on apps or on different ways of people communicating. For example, let's look at Glitter, for example.
Yeah.
The money is still there. It's just certainly from our clients. I'm talking about from the conference point of view.
Yeah.
It's just being used in a very slightly different way, in a way that they feel will add more value to the delegates.
I would totally support that.
And how do you at the QEII keep ahead of Glister event apps? Do you get involved in that?
Well, the way that we do it at the QE2, we're in a very unusual situation in that, yes, conferences are very much our bread and butter.
Yeah.
But certainly for the last 4 years, we've been trying to diversify our business and reposition ourselves as a more empty box event space, which is kind of where I've got an unusual role, really, in that I'm actually more of a client. I mean, I'm more of a client in terms of the fact that this is the first venue I've ever worked at. I'm from events, and I put on one big event a year, a showcase, and it tends to be something experiential. It tends to be something you wouldn't expect a venue to put on. It's not champagne and canapes. It is, you will get a bespoke invitation. It will be like a secret cinema type experience that you'll get. And it's the onus is on me to stay ahead of trends in terms of food and tech and interaction, and I will present them through the medium of this event to event planners.
So through the showcase, you're bringing in what you think are the latest tips and trends.
Yeah, and showing people different ways in which they can be used. And as a consequence, there is certainly bits of tech that I've used, apps that I've used, that conference clients have used for networking.
Okay.
They've just repurposed them in a way that suits them best because they saw it at an event that I did.
Yeah, good. Livia, how do you handle innovation in a historic venue?
Exactly. Well, we're quite lucky that the venue is actually quite new, but in some respect, it is the challenge is always that the primary purpose of the venue is not to be an events venue, and the budgets working for charities, of course, aren't particularly large, and we need to make sure that our spaces are purposely built still and keeping up with newest trends. So one way we can do that is to work very closely with our IT support and audiovisual teams in-house to make sure that as much as possible we can offer in-house. There is a limit to that, of course, but then it's, again, working with our suppliers to have packages ready for those clients that need live streaming or apps being used by every single delegate. And it's also very important, I think, for us to know where our limitations are and not try to oversell or overreach, because I know how much my building can take. I know what the Wi-Fi is like, and I won't be booking perhaps some of the conferences you might be working with. I might not book those in our venue because we know we simply won't be able to deliver it as well as another venue might.
Claire, there's a question from on Glisser from somebody, nameless. Do you use technology to differentiate?
Of course. I would say, actually, I missed saying earlier that we actually have now one person in our team who is responsible for tech innovation, and they work very closely with our content and social team to kind of make sure that we're always on top of what is coming and what we can utilize. But some of the stuff we do is completely bespoke. We did a campaign a couple of years ago now for H&M, where they came to us and wanted to do something for. I'm going to be really sexist now and say most of the women in the room will know about the Alexander Wang launch and the fact that H&M always each year have a specialist.
What do you mean the women?
I know. Yeah, I was being really sexist there, wasn't I? Sorry, boys. But generally speaking, especially with Mr. Fashion on the panel. But anyways, but certainly when what they were trying to achieve was actually both experiential and tactical in terms of media awareness, with a particular fashion influencer, obviously. And so what we developed for them was the box of Wang, which was a box made of the neoprene that he's famous for, which essentially allowed people passing by Selfridges to interact via Twitter. So if they tweeted with the box of Wang hashtag, it would reveal a piece of the collection that obviously wasn't available for them to see anywhere else. So we developed the algorithm that worked behind that. It was two-way glass that turned a different color, so it revealed the piece of clothing. And then and obviously the Twitter interaction was brilliant. If you weren't within the geotagged area around the box, it would tweet, and they would actually tweet you back a picture of that piece of clothing. So it wasn't just in that geographical area, but obviously it was more interactive and more engaging if you were. These were also then sent, the tweets were then sent to billboards around London, and it was really successful. So that was an example of a piece of bespoke technology that my team, and I was the one in the room saying to our creative director, and how in the hell are we going to do that? I asked him. But he did. So I think it's really important to just not close ideas off, and there's a team out there that can build pretty much anything these days. So just keep working on it.
Charlotte, there's another question via Glisser. How important do you think it is to gather real-time feedback from your audience?
Very important, because otherwise, how can you build on making a more successful event or conference? You've got to be able to get feedback. Nowadays, it's much easier with technology and invitation rather than filling in forms and sending them back in the old days with paper. So, yes,
there is still paper, though.
There is still paper, but you know, and also people will react and tell you the truth straight away. I think rather than take it away, think 3 weeks later, and then either forget it or post it. So straight away, very important indeed.
There's a thing that I've been talking about in the magazine called DDEM, Direct Data Event Marketing, and it's changing the course of the event by gathering data from the audience during the event. So via social, via emotional pickups, you can change the agenda, change the direction of the whole event just by what the audience is saying. So if you don't like the panel, we can get rid of them, get another one. How do you, Josef, how do you feel about real-time feedback from clients?
I mean, I think it's really important. You know, I haven't really got a lot of experience working with the sort of, the sort of systems that you talk about, and actually, changing the agenda, that sort of thing. But I think it's important to, to speak to your audience and speak to your guests on the night. Yeah. If you do a, really big award ceremony, sort of, show them that you really care about them. Go and ask them, how things are going, and what it is that you can do there and then, to perhaps change something. So I think it's important to go and speak to people.
I also think it's one of the unique things about the event industry. I think if you come from an advertising background, which I do, if you wanted to find out what the consumers thought, you had to run research panels. If you want to find out what the event's doing, go and ask the people that are at the event. We don't need to run research, do we? The audience, the customers, the clients, they're right out there. We don't need to get them in a locked box and look at them through a two-way or one-way mirror. And
yeah, also that changes the environment that you're in. Sort of on the day, on the night, you sort of, you might feel different about something, or if you're sort of locked in a white box somewhere, and you get asked a lot of questions, your answers will probably be very different.
Yeah. Roopi, how do you handle feedback?
I've got a little story.
Is it a long story?
A very short story.
That's all right.
So we also monitor Twitter when we know things like, if we know that the audience of an event is going to be particularly engaged or particularly picky about something. So going back to my developers conference, they wanted a vegan menu. So vegans obviously feel very, very strongly about their diet. So we knew that we need to be like really hot on this. And obviously they're all developers, so they're all over Twitter. There was a story of us trying to track down a guy called Vegan Ben, who couldn't get his vegan lunch. Literally, it was shout-outs for Vegan Ben, Vegan Ben. We were tracking his movements through the building and tweeting at him, making sure that tweeting him pictures of the person he should go to so he could get his lunch. Yeah. It's just that important because it will spread. Yeah. And delegates will talk to each other, and food particularly is one of the make or breaks, isn't it, of an event? People do remember. So it's just having that little bit of common sense and knowing that people are going to talk, and just be aware and being able to quickly react to things and keep an eye out for them.
How do you guys...
Vegan Ben was very happy in the end, just FYI.
Vegan Ben should have been happy. We did something similar with Cisco Live, where one of the speakers was arriving late and he was tweeting saying, I'm never going to get some coffee, the coffee station isn't open, and I'm on stage in 5 minutes. And the social media team at Cisco Live tweeted him saying, where are you? What coffee do you want? We'll meet you there. And he had 1 million followers, this speaker. And by the time he'd got his coffee, he said, Cisco Live's the best thing ever. This is the best event ever. George P. Johnson's the best. It's one of those things. And I'm shocked, and I'm going to ask a social media question. I'm shocked that every event doesn't have social. I'm shocked we're still talking about whether we should have social linked in every event. Let me walk down the panel, Josef.
Can we try the coffee thing here? Will that work?
Yeah. Tweet them. Yeah. Get some coffee. Go on.
So what was your question about social?
Social. Why isn't it everywhere in the event industry?
I think it is.
Is it?
It is at all of my events, yeah.
Is it completely integrated?
Yes, I mean, I think...
Talking of social.
Yeah, I think you have to integrate it, and every event that I've done always has a hashtag. There's always some way of connecting everybody. So I think it's hugely important. Yes.
Every event should have social. Livia, social and historic.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't really speak for my clients because it's their choice, what they how much social they do around their events. But we run public program events in the museum as well, and some of those are very much to raise the profile of the venue, but also to generate income. And that's where, as you were saying, we always have a hashtag for the event. We always make sure that we talk about it on social media on all channels. And then, even though the team is very small and there's no one dedicated to analyzing that social media stream, we definitely make time to go and see what people are saying and then respond to them and learn from that for the next event. So it's certainly part of what we do. Clearly, also being who we are quite, we need to be keeping up with the latest trends and technologies regardless, because that's what the collection is about. And so does staff. So we definitely need to invest more in that.
Thank you. Roopi, social.
Happy to say all our people are all over social, all over it, man.
Is it fun?
In it bloods. So yeah, like our peoples are all over social, including conferences, including dinners, including fashion shows, brand events. And we try and stay as engaged as we can with them. One of the things I actually did when I first started at QE2 was I shut down our Facebook page because I hate Facebook. And we're B2B. I didn't think it was relevant. But soon discovered 6 months ago, people were checking in regardless. And they'd created like an unofficial QE2 Facebook page. So I thought, oh no, can't have this. So it was quite interesting, actually. So because of delegate desire, I suppose, I had to resurrect it, bring it back to life. We're doing Facebook again. Hopefully there'll be no MySpace or Bebo as well, but
Although Justin Timberlake owns MySpace now, so
anything can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're plugged into Instagram, we're plugged into Facebook and Twitter, and nothing fills me with more joy than, when you look on London Trends and it's something that's happening downstairs. I'm like, yes. So yeah, our guys are very engaged.
I think it's an important point to note that social media is for your audience. It's just not for you. You go where the audience is.
I learned that.
Claire.
I'm going to be a tad controversial.
Go
and
on,
kind of with Kevin in the fact that I don't think we're doing enough at all.
We're not.
I think social media we've only just scraped the surface. And when a venue, and I'm sorry, ladies, when I say this, when a venue says that they're interacting with their with people going there, that's brilliant and fantastic. But actually, it's the brands and the event owners that need to really be integrating social with their events, their event strategy. We did a little bit of research last year to look at how much more powerful content is from events than content generated just from the brand directly. And it was staggering, the results, looking at how much more piece of content that was released, even the piece of content that was developed before an event, released in an event environment versus just released on its own, was much more powerful within the event environment. To look at it when you actually have participants in that event or in that experiential activation, sharing it on their own, on their own channels, it becomes that much more powerful again. And I absolutely believe we're only just at the tip of the iceberg with it. I think there's lots of examples in our world where we're just getting better and better at it, but still not seeing our clients invest enough money in that process or integrating enough. They go, oh, we've got a social team over here.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, but the social team needs to be in these meetings and working out what we're doing and how we're integrating right from the start.
And I think we, as an industry, we need to take responsibility for making that happen, because clients are clients and they have their structures. I think we have different needs. And let me just give you one example. So Cisco Live, an event I was involved with 4 years, has around about 12,000 delegates. And it happens internationally. It's in Italy, it's in Berlin. And those 12,000 delegates, we created 5 years ago a social media hub, and we're really pushing social media. At last year's event, the 15,000 people in the room were connected to 37.5 million people outside the room. So we were showing products, we were sneak peeking new launches, we were talking about great content and plenary. And the reach of that event, it doesn't matter what your event is. you know, whatever the cost of Cisco Live is divided by 15,000 people, that's quite a big number. But the cost of Cisco Live divided by 37.5 million people, that's old advertising numbers. And really what we're trying to do in the event industry is to create that momentum and create those connections and to create that network, that community of interest around our event that we, on behalf of the brand, can then take advantage of. That's it, lecture over. Charlotte, social media and KPMG, I would imagine that's...
Yes, to a certain extent. But a lot of the events that we do are very private and would be confidential. But on the other hand, the big, you know, maybe it's oil or gas or automotive, then that would be very much social media supported, yes.
Yeah.
But a combination of the two.
And do you have, technical, do you have an internal intranet?
Yes, we do, absolutely, yes. And hub and tweeting, and absolutely, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's probably not as used as much as it could be, but it's there and increasing.
Cool. So we're coming to the end of our panel. Does anyone else got a burning issue? Want to ask? No? Okay. Oh my God, what? There's a man with a... With a burning issue. Let me get you a microphone. Name, rank and serial number, sorry.
Thank you. My name is Duncan Bartlett. I'm a public speaking coach. My business is called Deliver Your Message. You talked about the measure of success from the points of view of your clients. Could I ask you what you see as being a successful event?
Good question. And well spoken as well. And if anyone's looking for a speaking coach, Jonathan's there. Measure of success for your events?
For us, it would be building a stronger relationship with those clients, ultimately working with them on a more regular basis for more work. That would be it.
And is there a formal process for measuring that? Do you track that?
Yes, you do track it. It's very difficult because it's not instant. It could be over months or years.
Yeah.
But you know that we all know that we like working with people we know and we like. So it's slowly building a relationship, which is why most of the events take place.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Claire.
So this is a real passion point for me, so I'm sorry if I drone on, but measuring events is really, really critical to what we do. Particularly as events is really just the vehicle in which we create marketing campaigns for our clients. So every one of my clients probably has a different measure of success. Some it's about awareness and raising brand affinity for a particular brand. Others it's about acquisition and making sure that they're signing on to something specifically and driving actual sales. So it really does depend, but it's about making sure that you understand what those KPIs are up front and then working out a plan specifically for that client to make sure that we're delivering against them. But ultimately, there is a lot of research and background research that goes on to actually make sure we're hitting those KPIs. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later at 11:45, so come back and listen to that.
Come back after the ad break. Roopi.
In my past life, in conferences and into sport even, I would have measured it by cash. Cash money, baby.
Cash is king.
Ticket sales, sponsorship, bums on seats. But recently, the type of showcase events that I've been running, it's been different. There isn't a tangible ROI. That's not actually what I'm after. My measures of success have been sentiment, because my biggest challenge in my current job is changing perceptions. And actually, that's a long term. That's a slow burner. So it's press.
Changing
sentiment.
perceptions of the QE2?
Yeah.
From what to what?
From being a traditional, boring, old-fashioned, past its day conference venue that only does conferences for old people. to a multi-purpose, technologically leading-edge, cutting-edge, open space venue. You can build it, see it, do it. We'll help you. It'll be awesome.
That's
so
it.
that.
Good. Good luck.
So for me, it's about sentiment. It's about press.
Okay. Livia.
Thank you. On the one hand, client events point of view, it's if a client like Charlotte tells us exactly the things that she was saying earlier the next day, and we know, it's been a great event for the client, and they even consider coming back to us. from sort of a more internal point of view, I also look at how much time my team spends on each event and how much value for money there is in that. And there are certain events that may be a lot more time consuming to actually put on and actually don't bring in as much revenue to the museum, so we need to look at that as well. But then from a public program point of view, it's, how you were saying, a lot of it is about revenue for the charity and people wanting to come back and getting in touch about when the next one is. And that's how we generally, that's what we listen to. We listen to our visitors.
Excellent, thank you. Joseph, measurement.
Measurement. So I think I'm going to talk about one particular event, which is London Fashion Week, and I think to me it's threefold really. It's sponsorship. Do the sponsors, are they happy? Do they want to come back? Do they want to sign up again? Number two is the designers. Are they happy? Did they have a good experience? Could they showcase their collections the way they wanted? Did they have enough time? To set up, to run the show, etc. And then thirdly is the audience. It's press and buyers. What was their feedback? Were they able to get a cup of coffee, for example, or did they have to queue? That sort of thing.
You desperately need a cup of coffee, don't you?
I do, yes. And that's it, really.
Great, and that's a great time because we're going to get Joseph some coffee. Please thank the amazing panel.